Hold on. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. Look, I want to keep this video short, less than 6 minutes or 8 minutes. I often tell people not to believe everything they see online on the internet, and I keep doing that. Maybe I shouldn't because it's obvious, but there are times real information shared online, interesting stuff, things are being exposed, like fake news. So there are relevant things that come by. But beware that you're not distracted. Because just think about it this way. If you had a group of burglars, yes, it's a parable I'm giving now, as I often do on this channel. Let's say you have a group of 10 burglars. They want to rob a house. And they find a house with many silver objects in it. So what do? One of them comes by as a mailman delivering a package. So he has the chance to get inside the house. And while he's inside, without the owners being aware of it, he makes many pictures. Just so that his buddies, who are his colleagues, kind of know how the house looks like, so they know how they can escape. So that worked. What happens now? They made their plan how to rob that house. But here's the thing. They need to do it wisely so that they are not caught. And this is a life-threatening thing that they're about to do. It can cost them their life. So what they come up with is they distract the people. One day, there's this fire in the neighborhood. This shop catched fire. And this is a shop that almost everyone in the neighborhood went to. So when the firefighters were rushing through the streets, everyone went out to see what happened and to support the owners of the shop. It was at this moment that the burglars made their move. But it took over a year and a half before the owners of that home to find out that they've been robbed. There were some people that told them that they were robbed, but they didn't believe it. You know why? Because those burglars, they had copies of the original object, of the original items they stole. For example, if there was a silver spoon somewhere, they replaced it with an iron spoon that looked similar. But it was iron, it was not silver. It was only after a while, when rust appeared on the iron, you realized, oh, man, this is iron, this is not silver, how can this be? Here's the thing. By committing that arson at that shop, they distracted the people so they can rob the house. And by replacing the stolen objects with cheap counterfeits, people didn't even notice they've been robbed. That's how far the burglars went. They knew they had to come with a deception so good that it would take a long time before people would wake up from the deception. Now, why did I give this parable? Just think about it. When people want to deceive you, they come with facts. And they come with something that's relevant to your situation. But your attention is being taken away from something else by what they are presenting onto you. And that's something else that your attention is being taken away of. That's the whole purpose of it. So, while you think you're engaged in something that's beneficial, it may be beneficial, but only on the short term. After that benefit expires, even then you're not aware that you've been deceived. And even if you find out you've been deceived, you're not aware how deep this deception has gone. That's how the Hegelian dialectic operates. A thesis, antithesis becomes a synthesis. You push the population to a policy where you want them in the first place, but you knew that the people wouldn't accept that policy, or that it would be, if people would have saw what was coming, they would resist. So you distract them with a thesis that will cause their resistance, the antithesis, and then when people are fed up, they want to relief, you give them the synthesis. But the synthesis was the plan all along. So deception is meant to keep your attention away from something. Just like in the parable I gave unto you, those burglars wanted to keep people's attention away from noticing that they're silver spoons and they're silver optional, not silver. In the same way, there are deceptions that are being exposed by shills. Just keep away from discovering the real thing that is going on. Okay, let me give an illustration now. Let's say you are from, let's see, this video is already 5 minutes. Okay, I need to make it a bit longer. Okay, I'll do that. Let's say there was this general from China that fought a war against the English, because there was a war between Britain and the, I believe it was the Qin dynasty, and the Qin dynasty was somewhere in the 18th century. There was a war, and now this is general that has been credited for fighting against the English, against the British, I mean. You know, you grew up in China, you hear these stories, and the sense of who you are as a Chinese individual is determined by where you grew up. Why do you speak Mandarin as your native tongue? Because of where you grew up. For example, if your name is Kevin, it is because the people around you agree to associate that sound Kevin with you. So when they address you, they use Kevin often. That's why your brain got attached to the sound Kevin. And that's why when people say Kevin, you look around, because you see that's your name. That's an historic agreement that's been transferred onto you. The language you speak, maybe you speak a dialect. Why? Because maybe 300 years ago, the people from a certain town wanted to distance themselves from another town out of rivalry, so they began to use words in a different way. That's why that dialect of yours came into existence. So there was an historic conflict, and that conflict has been transferred onto you. That's why you speak that dialect. Not there's anything evil about that dialect, but it's still a historic thing that's been transferred onto you. How you look at yourself, how you relate to others, your manners, what you consider polite or not, this all historic agreements that's been transferred onto you. And to some extent, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you're a fisherman, you're not going to try to figure out how to fish on your own. For thousands of years, people have been fishing, so you just learn the craft from those that were before you. There's nothing wrong with receiving historic knowledge. But understand the following. You've been conditioned. But what if there was deception in that conditioning? You're not aware of it because you've been conditioned. Your parents also, the people around you also. But that doesn't take away that deception has taken place. So if there's a deception going on, that's quite disturbing. What do you do when you don't want people to find out about it? You make sure that they're distracted by another deception that makes them build on the primary deception that you don't want them to expose. You don't want them to see through. For example, let's say that you had this general who fought against the English. And then later, through some historic research, you find out that this man was not a man to begin with. He was a male imposter. But then you realize, hold on a minute, if it was a she that pretended to be a man, how did she got so far in leading an army? Then you realize, hold on a minute, this doesn't add up. So then you have to accept that there was a fake man taking no glory while a real man died. And then you realize, hold on a minute, this war against Britain, it didn't add up because there was no possibility Britain could win this. You know what's happening now? Your identity of who you are is being challenged. Because you hear the stories while growing up as a native Chinese. I'm just using a parable here, okay? You hear the stories and that built up who you think you are. But when that story is challenged, it also challenges you in the present, how you relate to others. And that's the thing, when there's a deception going on that's very disturbing, you make sure people get attached to that deception. Because once people are attached to something, they're less likely to let it go. So you make sure they're attached to that deception while you distract them with minor other deceptions. So that because remember, they're holding on to the main deception that you don't want them to discover, right? That means that when you distract them with minor deceptions, they will hold on to the deception. They don't even know that it's a deception. And that's how you can keep people trapped. Now look, about that Chinese general is just an example. But just understand this. Your history has an effect on how you relate to other people. So if people can mess with your history, I'm not even talking about national history that you've been taught in school and all of that. It can be just family history. Let's keep it small. Family history. If people can mess with your history, they can lead you in a certain direction, and you will get along with it because you think that's where you are. Okay, enough about this. There's this YouTube channel over here called Invisible Writer, and you also have the name in Japanese. I recommend this channel once in a while. This channel brings forth another video. I'm not telling you to agree with everything that is being posted on this channel, okay? I'm not doing that. Just keep an open mind and look at the bigger picture. And as I mentioned before, I want you to agree with Christ. I'm not asking anyone to agree with me, okay? You have beef with me? Well, you have beef with me. I'm not even going into that. I agree with Christ, okay? Because I'm telling you, the deception is far deeper than pagan holidays. Because a lot of people think that the deception is all about pagan holidays, 9/11, all of that. The deception goes far deeper. And as I mentioned before, if you want to keep a deception going, you make sure that people are distracted by minor deceptions, which are real deceptions. But because people are focused on those minor deceptions, they're holding on to the main deception that they don't know is a deception. And that's what's going on with the world right now. Okay, well, and by the way, I only point this channel onto you, okay, because there are many shows out there. But for now, I'm done here. I need to go home. By the way, this is not my office. It's just a place I'm allowed to come for work and to relax. Okay, this video is how many minutes did I spend here? Oh, 11. But okay. For now, agree with Christ and be at peace.